All right, hey, what's going on, missioners? Okay, so unlearning in your 20s and unlearning in your late 30s, 40s. I just learned today there's a huge difference. When you unlearn in your 20s, you are willing to ask more questions. And you get a better option of things when you unlearn in your 20s. When you say in your 20s, you're going to undo the stuff that you will learn when you were a child. And you're going to max out and do all of the things that break generational curses, etc., etc. So I learn when I speak to people who are in their 40s, 50s, and sometimes late 30s. But I don't want to get too in touch with the millennials. You feel me? Because they're about till 81. So when you understand somebody who's 40 when they're unlearning, their lens is different because they have more baggage. So they're not only telling you from their experience based on what they attracted in their life, they're telling you from what they've maybe researched, maybe logically understood, right? So when you don't have that quote unquote life experience and you're saying to them, there's a better, for instance, for example, there's a better way to parent. There's a better way to make money. There's a better way to do anything. There's a better way to cook. There's a better way to eat. Don't even get me started with that. You just throw that shit out the window. You West Indian, throw that shit out the window. There's a better way because in your 20s, you're more open. When you're unlearning in your 40s, you're talking from usually your baggage. You're usually not talking from no real wisdom. You're talking from your baggage. In my 20s, I'm learning I don't got the baggage you got. So I have actually, and hear me clearly, you get to take a more thorough analysis because you have more time on your hands. So you get to say, wait a minute, does that work? Like, who else has that? And you ask more questions. Does it work? Who else has it helped? How successful are you with it? How successful are your children? How successful are you with your husband? You get to ask way more questions based on based on results and or getting results, and then you ask yourself, but these people who are telling you what their experience is, his phone really freezing for real. What their experience is, if it's real or not. And then when a 40-year-old tells you, oh, this is the real world. And you know, it makes a big difference. My dad used to say that a lot too. Like, because he's a tourist, but we're gonna get that in another video. He used to tell me about the real world. Am I saying what he said is false? No. But am I saying his world is my world? No. Get with me, right? So when people tell me their experience, quote unquote, whatever that means, not only do I have my own experience due to me being young, but also I have my own unlearning and relearning on my own without, quote unquote, always physically learning from my own experience. Because if in your 20s, when your slate is clean, you want to be, you want to pick and be wise about your decisions, because every decision, every choice leads to an experience, instead of saying I'm gonna go head dive. I'll give you an example. There's been some research that says there are a lot of 20-year-olds delaying children. Why? Because they're doing the research and the reading and they're unlearning and they're saying, yo, that costs a lot of money. And they're realizing the trauma they come with. So it's like, am I ready to just pop a kid out my pussy at 21 and I had this horrible family growing up? Am I just gonna pass down my shit to my children? That's not everybody, of course, but they're quite the few who are putting a pause on having children. I'm not saying that's everybody, because I know a few who's having children, right? Who had children, you feel me? But I had to understand there's a big difference when you say I only have my experience, and you tend to realize it's false, or it's, I would say false. That's a harsh word. It's not false. It's, whew, what's the word I'm looking for? Damn, I don't even have another way to say it. I wouldn't say it's false. I would say it's personal. So because it's personal, you end up realizing, ooh, come on, ooh, shit. Because it's personal, you, god damn, that's so good. It because it's personal, you ask, what was it about that person that created that experience? You get me? What was it about that person that created that experience? I'll give you a beautiful example. My dad always used to tell me about entrepreneurship, and there's some shit that he was right about to some extent. Entrepreneurship is fucking hard. But according to my chart, that's the only way for me. Like, I don't have another choice. With the way my Virgo's in Chiron, a job wouldn't work for me. So I'll give you an example. He would say, you should get a job to leverage into your income. I said, I did that. It doesn't work for me. I was always on survival mode with these jobs, no cap. And it never, my job rarely poured into my business. Like, if I didn't have a job that was like real, like when I say like a real job, like, yeah, real job, it didn't work. And I said, who has time to go search and then go get a degree and all this shit to get a job so I can pour into my business? I said, and then I told him that's not the experience that works for me. You get me? So here's where I get it fucked up at. When you in your 20s, you get more choices. And Kevin Samuel says that a lot. People miss out on that. There's a book called uh something in the decades. Things to do in the decades or some shit like that. And it's true. Where there are things to do in your certain decades. And the wisdom that you get from doing shit in your 20s that I won't say you can't do, but you don't have to catch up for in your 40s. And Eric Thomas said it best. What you don't do in your 20s, you do in your 30s. And what you don't do in your 30s, you take from your 20s and your 30s and you do in your 40s. Like, you're always overlapping if you waste time. And a lot of adults who have spoken to me growing up and now, they have always told me I didn't have the vision you had when I was 20. I wish I had it. I wouldn't be where I am today. So people gotta stop the cap when they say, oh, I don't gotta learn. I don't gotta unlearn. I don't gotta relearn. Life is the greatest teacher. That is such bullshit. Because a 25-year-old would, if he uses his time correctly or her time correctly, will be so ahead of a 40-year-old. So ahead. Bank account wise, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, if they're just diligent with their time. That's it. That's it. In your 40s, you have less time, more baggage, more pain, more damage. So a lot of the times, you ain't talking really from a place of wisdom. Hear me clearly. You ain't talking from a place of wisdom. You're talking from a place of pain, some experiences, some knowledge, and some people see that as wisdom. But it also depends on, again, like I said, what results are you trying to have? Especially during today, these times. You feel me? Like, man, I could go in on this topic, but unlearning in your 40s is different. Because unlearning in your 40s, like waiting or finally getting the chance, you kind of wasted a lot of time. You wasted half of your life to teach you nothing. But, don't listen to the 20-year-olds though, because they probably don't know what they're talking about.